Hey guys, Christina Wolf here, and it is the new moon in Aquarius card reading and energy update. I am coming on at Sunday, February 3rd, 2019. I'm going to give you guys a few seconds to pop on while I kind of clean up a little bit of a mess I made here. I have here, if you use smudge or incense regularly, you're supposed to kind of dispose of it out into Mother Earth. So I kind of have a little bit of a disposal container that spilled on me. And so bear with me. Let me see if I can invite a few people. Hope you guys are well. It has been an insane last few days, to be quite honest with you. Welcome if you're just coming on. Say hello. Let me know if you want a card. Lots to talk about today. So, let's see what we got here. Hey, Kimberly, welcome. Let me know, would you like a card? I'm going to be writing these down. Before we get started, I wanted to set up a new thing of smudge here. Welcome if you're just popping on. Let me know you're here and if you'd like a card. It's been, like I was saying, if you're just coming on, a little bit crazy, and I'll explain why. There's a lot kind of going on in the cosmos, and we're feeling it. And I'm going to get into that in a second. I hope a few more people pop on. I see two people, so let me know who you are. Welcome. What I'm doing is I'm preparing my smudge here. White sage. Did you know that white sage only grows in California? And that it is kind of considered a bit of an endangered plant because they've had droughts. Good morning, Chris. How are you? They've had droughts and it's been over harvested because a lot of people are now using it to burn for purification for ceremony. And well, it's highly encouraged that you learn how to grow your own. Let's see. Kimberly says, what cards am I doing today? Goddess Oracle card, if you're reading from that deck. So I was thinking of doing my Isis Oracle. I don't know why she just wants to talk to me today. And Mary Magdalene's coming along because my son made me a picture of all things, and I didn't notice it until now, but he out of nowhere just started drawing roses on artwork. I'll show you. Isn't this a lovely rose? He drew that for me. And so I kind of like to think of it as that's his consciousness of Mary Magdalene coming into his forefront. And so I thought it was really kind of sweet. So I feel like Mary Magdalene's kind of talking to me. So I've got Magdalene Oracle for folks who want the spirit animal. But Isis was really kind of calling to me. And but to be honest with you, when you said divine goddess, I have this divine feminine oracle. And so whatever is, excuse me, in your heart. Oh, one more thing I wanted to show y'all. it looks terribly orange on the coloring on this for some reason, but this is a nice dark red. And this is my tarot bag that I made. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it's holding my trusty herbal tarot deck. And the reason I chose red is considered in Native American to be a color of protection. And then, of course, white quartz is doesn't absorb any negative energy, so it's good for protection and for clearing. So that's what I store my tarot in. I made it myself. The more and more I do spirit work, the more I realize it's best to make your own tools because you know the energy that you put into it. So that said, let me light my copal incense that I did not make, by the way. I do have copal as a resin. I think I talked about that before. But I find resins to be a little bit fussy. You have to burn them on charcoal and all that. So let's get started in a minute. It seems like a couple people have popped on. And let me look at the notes here. I'm going to bring the smudge here, the white sage smudge. And the way I do consider smudge, I don't know, some of you probably heard this before. I've seen, this is just the way I've been taught. Okay. It likes to bring itself down to like a smolder here, although it's not very well lit here. I break up smudge sticks into just the single leaves, because if you burn a smudge stick and then blow it out, or for whatever purpose, blow it out, and then you want to come back to it later and use it again, it's like you didn't close that open loop. You basically are reigniting all the old energy. So when you break up the single leaves and then you burn the single leaves, it's just for this particular sacred space that we're opening up. So I find it much cleaner. It's easier to dispose of. Anytime you have ashes or anything from incense, herbs that you're burning, always return them to Mother Earth. Like I was saying at the beginning of this live, I have like a little container that I put all of the ashes in, and I dump them into Mother Earth. So just a little tidbit there. All right, so get started. Put on some lip gloss. A beauty must have for me. I will never leave the house without lip gloss. So let's see the notes here. So Kimberly would like a goddess oracle card. I'm assuming you mean Isis. Let me know, Kimberly. I'm going to look down on the notes here. Kimberly oracle. Chris says, I'll let you decide. Yes, Chris, you gave me some sage, and I think it's not white sage, because white sage looks more like a star in a way, and yours is more like just plain, maybe clary sage. I'll have to look it up. Hi, Ida. Welcome. If you want a card, let me know. Hey, is it Juliana? Welcome. Isis. Okay, great. Kimberly says Isis. If y'all want a card, let me know. And then, Chris, let me pick a card for you. Let me feel into it. I kind of feel like the Divine Feminine Oracle. This is like more than one goddess here, okay? But Isis was really kind of talking to me earlier. So let me do Divine Feminine for you. And I haven't used that deck yet, I don't think. A couple of announcements while you're here. I am doing 2 collaborations with Sama Morningstar, actually 3 coming up. The first most recent or coming coming up is we're doing a sexual healing circle based on my interview I did with her around sexual healing and the patriarchy. This is like a space on Zoom that we're going to do off of Facebook. So we'll be kind of co-facilitating it. There'll be opportunity for you to interact because it's on Zoom. You know, you can give your input, share with, with us your struggles, those sort of things. I like that a little bit better than live because the only way we're interacting on live is comments, etc. And I think that when it's off of Facebook and it's in Zoom, it's sort of like, almost like you can be in a living room with people and having a conversation. It's a lot more intimate, and it is an intimate topic. The purpose of the circle is healing. So it's not like, we're just going to come around and complain and all that stuff. It's not a sociology discussion. It's more to heal any frustration or anger or anything that you have in your heart or you're holding in your womb space around this topic. So that will be Sunday, February 10th, 7 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. We are asking for love donation. That would be highly appreciated. Sama speaks regularly around the gift economy. Like if you cannot give monetarily, there are other ways to give. I encourage you to check out her website or her Facebook group, the Womb Centered Healing Temple. It's a very nourishing space for me. And to discuss further about what she means by a gift economy. But I really like that idea that, we give based from need, and it's less than an exchange or a transaction, but more like a collaborative thing. So that's the first thing, the sexual healing circle. The second thing, we're going to be doing a stitching circle. There's other projects or crafts, crafting that she has done in a previous stitching circle that was related to womb healing. And I, in particular, brought up how I make my own ritual products. This tarot bag in particular, I'm going to be making an altar cloth. I kind of made one a little bit on my own, but not like an official project. These are things that I'm going to be making like medicine bags for like when I do herb walks and things like that. But this particular sewing circle is to learn how to make your own tarot bag. And to me, how does this relate to womb-centered healing? Because we're going to be doing it with her womb-centered group. For me, the art of stitching and sewing and crafting is a very feminine activity. Women were weavers. Women were the sewers, the crafters of, the artisans for, beadwork and those sort of things. And whenever I'm sewing or stitching, I feel like I'm using that womb-related creative energy. So, and I find it very healing. If you're in a very masculine space in your life, you have maybe a position of authority, you're president of your company, you're police officer, you're using a lot of male-directed energy. You're maybe the head of your household, and you're in a lot of like masculine energy. The work of crafting and sewing and it helps you get back into a more feminine space of allowing and creating. So I encourage you all to join us on that. That's going to be February 18th at 2 p.m. Central Time. And lastly, coming up way into the spring, I think April timeframe, we'll be doing an embodied, Sama's doing an embodied Shakti summit. And I'm one of her speakers, and embodied Shakti for me is all about embodying. If you're just exactly what I was talking about with the crafting, if you have too much masculine energy in your body, the feminine energy needs to get balanced out. And how do we take notice of that? How do we increase our allowing energy in our lives? which is a very feminine quality. How do we come into our body, do embodied exercises, and which is a very feminine quality. Where spirit is a very masculine, it's very dissociative, where feminine is very physically of the earth. And so I will be providing, I was actually creating this morning a guided meditation for that summit. It's one of my free gifts on how to balance the feminine and the masculine in the body and take notice of that. And for me, when I have physical ailments related to this imbalance, and such as migraines from my period, menstrual ailments are all about an imbalance of the feminine and masculine. If you have endometriosis, if you have heavy periods, all of that, that's all about an imbalance of the masculine and feminine. We all have masculine, we all have feminine, but in our culture, we value masculine a lot more. And so we're utilizing that way more than we are utilizing or valuing feminine qualities. So we got to bring them into balance. So that's kind of one of my missions for this year, is that sacred union of divine masculine and feminine. So that's going to be coming up. I'm a guest speaker for that summit, Embodied Shakti, for Selma Morningstar. That's going to be in April. One last announcement before I get into the reading. Gosh, 20 minutes of announcements. Wow. February 7th, Linda Vetras Nichols. She's also having a summit that I am part of. It's called Women Who Run with the Wolves. It's based on or be your own effing Valentine, basically. It's helping you to get into the essence of feminine energy, the folklore of it, the archetype of the wild woman. And it's based on the book Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, which I read when I was like 17. And I talk about a particular story in it called Sealskin, Soulskin. And you're just going to have to check it out. So I did put a link in here. I'll see if I can find the link and post it as an announcement again. If you want to sign up for that interview series, that's February 7th through the 14th. So let me check the notes one more time. Okay, so Krista says she would like an Isis card. Okay, great. And is it Juliana or Juliana? Let me know. Looks like, okay. I'll call you Juliana since I'm here in San Antonio, and that's typically how they pronounce it down here. And my great-grandmother was a Juliana or Juliana. My grandmother was named Julia after her. I think a divine feminine card for you is good. Lots of Isis and divine feminine going on here, because I think that part of this upcoming energy update that I'm going to talk to you about is there's a very particular planetary interaction that's kind of affecting a lot of us right now. One of them is the one I'm going to focus on, besides the new moon in Aquarius, is this Mars and Aries square Pluto and Capricorn. It was the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of February, and it is like wreaking havoc with my children in particular, me too. But if you've been noticing a lot of like stress and like a feeling of like, I'm going to go ahead and do whatever I want. If you're getting a lot of rebellion from people around you, maybe your partner. Remember we talked about the Cancer, the South Node and the North Node of the Moon in Cancer and Capricorn, talking about that push-pull between doing, self-nourishment and the needs of the other. And this is sort of like the childish way of we're getting our needs met right now. Like Pluto is all about your subconscious, right? Pluto is the god of the underworld. And frankly, it's when you go into other like Sumerian mythology, the goddess of the underworld was Ereshkigal, and she basically took her sister and lured her sister Inanna down into the underworld and made her into a put her body up on meat hooks, basically. It's stripping you bare. Going into the underworld is all about like your deep fears, and everybody, like, it's really a scouring, cleansing experience, right? To acknowledge what's going on in your subconscious. So subconscious, though, means you're not conscious. It's just below the surface, and yet it influences what you're doing in a conscious way. And so Mars, being that Mars in Aries, which is right at the beginning of the zodiac, it's that very generative, very childish, I'm going to do what I want kind of attitude, energy around it. But it's being fueled by subconscious fears or energy or desires or hidden commitments. So you may find that this is when you're doing self-sabotage, butting heads with your partner. In particular, my children, 2 of them were like absolutely ridiculous with their behavior the last few days. If you're finding this interaction going on, there's an explanation for it, and thank goodness, hopefully it will be moving forward soon. We'll be moving through it, okay? Because as we know, the only way to get through energy is to move through it. We can't avoid it. We can't get around it. We got to move through it, right? So as I'm saying all this, I think the decks that I'm working with are, of course, my trusty herbal tarot for the group reading, and the Divine Feminine Oracle, and my Isis Oracle. Okay? Anybody having this experience with either ironically, situations where you have normal obstacles, like I kind of butt heads with a few coworkers here and there, and those situations were going well. So where you normally have like harmony, you may find some of that disharmony coming through. So let me check the notes here. Yes. Oh, yes. His artwork, he really is a little sweetheart. I feel like he's my little angel baby. Welcome, Bethany. Welcome, Linda. She says, Chris says, I see a lucky number. Hello, Mom. Welcome. You made it. Hey, Holly. Welcome. Courtney, welcome. Welcome. Aw, you guys are so sweet. So, Courtney, what kind of card do you want? If, okay, I got you. Divine Feminine Oracle for you, Juliana, okay? Megan, lovely. Courtney, I'll get you Divine Feminine as well. I think we need lots of Divine Feminine energy right now. The details for all of the signups are coming like this week. So if you want to sign up for the Sexual Healing Circle, you want to sign up for the Sewing Circle, I'll be getting those prepared. The Embodied Shakti one will be coming out probably March timeframe. And then the Women Who Run with Wolves, Be Your Own Effing Valentine, that's already out. And I'll repost that again so you guys can sign up for that. That one's the most recent, starting February 7th to the 14th. Then we have the Sexual Healing Circle, February 10th, and then the Sewing Circle, February 18th. And then I go on a cruise. I go on the Walker Stalker cruise, and I get to meet all my favorite Walking Dead characters, particularly Carl, my TV son. I'm so excited for that. Yeah, a Dreamcatcher would be a great project. Yep. Courtney says, I love that book. Yep. Okay, wonderful. Welcome, Sama. Hey, Mars square Pluto is like really busting my butt right now. Yes, calling on the grace of Mary Magdalene for this. Absolutely. Yeah, self-sabotage is strong in relationships. Absolutely, Kimberly. But just know it's not your imagination. It's not like you're not, oh, is it just me? No, it's you filtering. We are conduits for energy, and we're very in tune to it, especially recognizing is the first step. Yep. And then Ida, all right. I'm really feeling the Divine Feminine cards, so I'll do one for you for the Divine Feminine, Ida. Really having to be in allowing energy has really helped me. Yesterday in particular was a very trying, challenging day, and I had to get out of doing mode, which is very masculine. So this is part of the Divine Feminine Masculine marriage, is like, if you are always overdoing, you got to stop doing and learn to allow and rest. That I have noticed, any month that I'm overdoing, my period becomes ridiculously unmanageable, and it makes me rest. Definitely. Okay, so, thank you, Chris. Okay, Ida will welcome you on the replay. Thank you so much. Yeah, Holly, huge filtering. Yes, exactly, Sama. Beauty coming out of all this grit. And I will say too, spirits kind of were from 2012 to 2019 was like the cleansing purification period. Like, we did the huge scouring in our subconscious. And then now, 2019 is all about new beginnings, right? New beginnings, new ways of being. So like all the old circumstances that like were sort of forging you in the fire, if you will, they're coming up again, and you're going, oh, not this again. But you're being asked to be the new you in response to all these other things. So like the example, my children like losing their minds and misbehaving. In the past, I would have focused on how drained it made me feel, how stressed out I was, etc. And yet now I have a lot more centering skills that I've learned over time, a lot more grounding skills, relying on spirit work, and to be able to go within, do that work, and then look at the situation from the new version of me. I don't want to say new, the me that was already there, but I'm just shifting into that new space, that energetic space that was always there, and seeing through those lenses, acting through those lenses, being already in this well space. Then it's like, that's what we're being called to do, right? So, okay, Holly says Divine Feminine. Cool. I want to make sure I get everybody's request in before I continue on with the rest of this energy reading here. But to me, challenges are all about, and Sama would like an herbal card. To me, challenges are all about this is part of the card reading, or the energy update that I want to talk about. So we've got, I wrote out a bunch of notes because they've been coming up all week. Okay, so one last little note. If you're feeling the over aggressive, filled with irritability, whatever, just know that Mars in Aquarius square Pluto and Capricorn. Capricorn is all about like dad. Mars is all about like, in Aries is all about the unruly child. So you've got like, you're not going to do that. Oh, yes, I am kind of attitude going on within you, right? It's your energy of like feeling irritable. You're compelled to have this energy right now, and you don't know why, but at the root of it is some subconscious need that you're not getting met. So for example, my child, I won't say which one, had this huge blowout Friday night, and it's come to light that a lot of his misbehavior is because he's very angry. He feels like me and his dad have not been paying enough attention to him. So it's that sort of thing. Get to the root, the underworld, the Pluto matter, the Pluto essence of it. Like, what is the thing that's really driving this compulsive behavior, okay? And maybe just, you don't need to do anything with it. You just need to understand it through a new lens, right? So then now this new moon in Aquarius, new moon energy is all about planting seeds. Now, it's kind of like, to me, perfect that we're in Aquarius. Aquarius is very intellectual energy, very air element, very, up here in theory and abstract. And yet it's also expecting us to be in our highest integrity. And we have very high expectations for ourselves. So imagine that this is the energy that we're tilling the soil. And I mentioned this analogy about seeds in the event page to this. Ironically, not ironically, but like, of course, February 1st is Imbolc, which I don't know how to say that correctly in Gaelic, but it is the perfect median between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. So basically, this is when ancient Druids would be advising the people, hey, this is a good time for you to start celebrating planting seeds for springtime. Basically tilling the soil, getting things ready. And that's great energy for the new moon, right? That's exactly what the new moon is, all about tilling the soil after you've cleaned out and mulched and done all, weeded the garden, got everything out. Now you're perfectly tilled, and now it's the act of planting the seeds. Okay, so we're planting the seeds in this Aquarius energy, which is very lofty, very abstract. And the best way I can say it is, like in my police training, it's how to execute something from a training standpoint versus in a real life situation. So we can be in here learning all about theory and in the perfect highest realm of good intentions. And then, it's kind of like going to yoga class and everything's a nice, controlled, pleasant experience. And it's so easy to reach that, moment of inner peace. But now we're being asked to go out and do the work, right? Go out in the middle of Times Square and still maintain that inner peace. What they say, that saying, smooth waters don't make a good sailor. I think that's an African proverb, right? And so this shift from, the abstract Aquarius energy of, hey, I have the highest, best intentions, and I'm really good at it when there's no other outside influences, to now going into putting it to work. Like, I could sit here and talk to you guys all day, but that's very easy for me to stay relaxed and in my highest self. Can I do it when my kids are being like ridiculous? Can I still be in like a huge wave and know how to maintain my calm? Does that make sense? That's kind of what we're planting for our intentions, like going out and actually doing the work. So the theoretical clean energy of being in training or an abstract theory versus the messy reality of being in the work. Now be in the work, but don't beat yourself up if it's not perfect. It's never going to be exactly perfect, like in the sterile training setting. When you're trying to be peaceful and loving, in meditation, cool, but be peaceful and loving talking to your partner. Be peaceful and loving talking to that coworker that drives you bananas. Keep practicing the vibration, right? That's the work right now. So there is a tendency to get kind of carried away with ideals, but be mindful of the physical details. Hey, we have all these ideas and plans, but when it comes time to physically executing them, what sort of resources does that look like? Get into the brass tacks of things, okay? What does it feel like to do the things to carry you where you want to go? Okay, so if you want to have that divine union, right? You want to have that sacred union, you and your partner and your beloved. Can you continue to respond to him in irritation? No, you got to do that work inside yourself, right? The loving work, loving work is what's going to carry you to that sacred union. But honest loving work will carry you to that sacred union. Not fake, like, oh my God, I'm squashing how I'm really feeling. But what I'm driving at is, you got to do the work within and then be in that space to carry that to the goal that you want, you have to be a different way. You have to literally be in the energy of one who is loving towards their partner. Does that make sense? How's that landing? Okay, let me know. So literally this new moon seals in our intentions from the eclipse portal, the season from last month, which was huge, right? It's sealing in our intentions of like, how do we go forth and do the work of the intentions that we set? You know, we've already planted the seed, but this is that germinative stage where it hasn't quite popped, the sprout hasn't come up through the surface, but it's germinating, it's splitting, it's growing, it's getting ready to come out, but we're in that still not seen stage, okay? So it's now time to be in the physical manifestation stage. The work still has to happen. The work still has to happen before the shoot gets the visible results, okay? It's important to get the energy right. And when I say energy right, that's when we don't get caught up in the execution of things because we're too worried about being perfect in this abstract, theoretical training phase versus a real life situation. So just keep practicing. Remember that you planted the seed for whatever it was. Me, it's being in divine union with feminine and masculine. That's one of my seeds that I planted. That means I've got to stop doing so much. I've got to honor going within, right? I have to take actual action and change the way I'm being to be able to arrive at this space that I set for my intentions, right? One more thing. We talk about this stuff in theory, but do we ever literally practice the vibration of the state of being that we want? This is super important. You got to set aside like 10, 20, 30 minutes a day. And I find that maybe the only way I do this is if I am in a group with other people. We're holding each other accountable, where we meet up like, twice a month, where we're kind of saying, hey, these were the intentions we set for the year. This is the intentions we set for the week. This is the intentions we set for the next 2 weeks. Let's be in the energy of who I want to be for the next 2 weeks. And we'll sit and we'll meditate and we'll be in that energy. Like, I am in my highest self. I am like really embodying divine feminine, divine masculine. What does that feel like? And you got to do that practicing of the energy. That's the hardest part, because we're in a world of distraction, and that it's designed to distract you. They'd rather have us looking at TV. They'd rather have us looking at Facebook. Thank God you're here, because you want to be hearing this. But, stop, get off the hamster wheel. And I've had to say this a few times in other platforms. There'll never be a good time to get off the hamster wheel or the merry-go-round. It's going to feel like you're getting flung off into the bushes. Take a minute to dust yourself off, relax into it, and actively take time to hold space, build up that energetic container, be in the space energetically, feel the vibration of the space that you want to be in, right? The loving spouse, the calm mother, the rich person, whatever it is, right? Be in that energy, because we can just talk about it all day. Talking doesn't do anything. In fact, talking often brings up that energy of being not in the space of. It's bringing the lack of what you want to light, right? So kind of like Abraham Hicks says, practice the vibration of the thing that you want. But what does that mean? It literally means sit there and feel into, who am I? Who would I be? What would I feel like if I had what I really wanted, right? And it seems so simple, but we are in such a world of distraction that we rarely do it. We rarely take the time to sit still. I look at my 7-year-old. He has to be distracted. He'll sit down to eat and he'll be like, I need my iPad. I want to watch something. We've taken away his iPad, so he doesn't have that. And he strengthens that ability to sit still and be. So it's just like a muscle you strengthen. And in a way, you crave that time because you know that space, when you're in focused intention space, it's far more powerful to sit and be in that intention space. It's far more powerful creatively to be in that space than it is to be out doing, efforting, and not actually acquiring the thing that you want. Okay. So is the difference between unaligned and aligned action. Okay. So trying to control distraction is less effective in creating what you want than actually making time and space. So don't worry about reducing distraction. It's always going to be there. It's kind of like those of you up north right now shoveling the snow. It's like trying to shovel the snow while it's driving or while it's still snowing. You know, I used to grow up and like look outside after I just shoveled the driveway and it was like, oh my God, another snowstorm. You will feel that defeated sense of it's not going to go away. Instead, focus on, I'm carving out this little space for me right now. And that's in this little space right here is where my focused attention is going to go. All right. So that said, let's get started on one last note. Don't worry about the obstacle. Worry about just getting in the space of. Okay. I guess that's what I'm saying. All right, let's get started. And I want to open up some sacred space here. And let me light up my sage again. There are sacred herbs that the Native Americans use. And the 4 sacred herbs are tobacco, sweetgrass, sage, and cedar. And depending on what lineage you follow, they all represent one of the 4 corners. And so if we were to call on the different elements, we call on the winds of the east, that's spirit of eagle, right? Spirit of eagle. It's also the essence of tobacco. Tobacco was considered the first plant, and it's considered a blessing, something that you give back to Mother Earth, similar to like blue corn, something that you give in order, you know, as a token of blessing, of a thank you for all that Mother Earth gives to you. So like if you go out and you harvest herbs, put some tobacco in the earth. When you want to learn the wisdom of a teacher, a proper way is to give them, that mentor, a gift of tobacco, a little satchel of tobacco, and say, I ask for you to give me your wisdom. This is my thank you. I bless you for having this wisdom and sharing it to me. So tobacco is representative of the East, the generative, the first plant, basically, the essence of plants, right? And then the South is sweetgrass, all about the essence of summer and opening up the youth of life and basically the good life, the nectar of life. And then the West is representative of sage. Sage is all about release, letting go, purifying the water element. And then the North is cedar. Cedar is all about the wisdom of the ancestors, going within, the wise old crone. I'm going to look at some comments here before I get to the sacred space part. Okay, so Courtney says, love that. It's a shift in energy. Yes. Thank you, Courtney. Yes, this year I've decided I'm really going to plant my own seed. Hello, Yola. Welcome. I'm really going to plant some physical like herbs and some tomatoes. The idea that you grow your own things is just so powerful. Okay. If you're making your own tools for ritual, for spirit, that's the origin of it is important, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting plants, herbs from a good origin. And what better way than you grew it yourself? And it makes you more conscious of what am I tilling? What sort of energy am I putting out? What am I creating, right? Hey, Stephanie, welcome. Let's see. Hi, Mary, welcome. Let me know if y'all still want a card. Some of you just popped on. Yep. Jane, welcome. Yes, focus on the person you want to be. But also know that you are just fine right where you are. You're already whole, okay? You're all these aspects, right? If you think of, oh, I want to be over here, but I'm still here, that's lack, right? You're already here. You just have to shift into it. Does that make sense? Mary says, so true. Some period back, I was always trying to please and everything. I ended up getting a chest cold. Yep. Your body is the thing that speaks to you when you won't listen to your spirit, right? Your body makes you make changes. So disease is your signal. Disease is not a nuisance. Disease is precious wisdom telling you what you're refusing to listen to. It's like your body is like crying out its voice. It's the voice of your soul, essentially. I must have been so tired, but better now, not wanting to sound, yeah. It's okay to be victim-y, Mary. Just don't stay there. Yep. Hi, Penny, welcome. Let me know if y'all want a card. I have one. I have Kimberly, Chris, Krista, Juliana, Courtney, Ida, Holly, and Sama. And then, okay, so let's open up space here. To the winds of the east, we call you in. We welcome you, spirit of eagle, spirit of condor. We welcome the marriage of the eagle condor prophecy. This is the space of the rising sun, fire energy. This is the bird's eye view, the place where we are in our highest self. This is the birth of us. This is birthing energy, generative energy. We welcome you, welcome you, welcome you. Oh, this is the place of our father's lineage. Welcome. To the winds of the south, earth energy. This is a space of all of Earth's creatures, the four-legged, the two-legged, the creepy crawlies, the fin, the furred. We welcome you in, spirit of snake. We thank you for showing us how to shed old skin, to travel humbly close to Mother Earth. This is the space of our father's, mother's lineage, and we welcome you in. Oh. To the winds of the west, place of the setting sun, water element. This is the fall of our lifetime. This is the adulthood of our lifetime. This is when we harvest the lessons of our dark nights of the soul, of all the lessons of our childhood, and we put them together to make us the wise people that we are. We welcome spirit of whale, spirit of jaguar. Jaguar, the creature that snatches up its prey in the middle of the night, but always walks in the highest of integrity. We welcome you in. This is the space of our mother's lineage, and we welcome you in. Aho. To the winds of the north. This is the spirit of all of our ancestors and all the healing lineages. Welcome the Carol Indians of Peru and Ecuador. Welcome all the First Nation Indians. We welcome our Druid ancestors of Celtic and Germanic tribes of Europe. We welcome all of the healing shamans of the Siberian area, all the traditional Chinese healers, Japanese healers, all the healers, lineages of the world. We welcome you in. African, welcome. All of our helping spirits, the wise council. This is the spirit of elk, caribou, buffalo, the ancient wise ones. Spirit of elk is all about endurance, will help us through the winter of our lifetime. This is air energy. This is inner wisdom, going within like the trees in winter and hibernating, letting the sap go down, down, down into the earth, and knowing within all the knowledge we need to return to the void. This is the space of our mother's father's lineage, and we welcome all of our well ancestors. Aho. And now, Mother Earth, as always, we welcome you. We thank you for providing all sustaining life and for nourishing us in so many ways. We thank you, thank you, thank you, and we ask your forgiveness for all the ways in which we do not hold you in gratitude. We thank you now. And then to Father Sky, for the mysteries of the universe, for the evolution of planets and their energy and influence. We thank you so much for the black space, the space where thoughts become things, for all creation, the Pistis Sophia consciousness. We thank you, thank you, thank you. And to our star nations, all the spaces of other dimensions that we are not yet aware of that help us in unknown ways. We thank you so much. To Grandmother Moon, Grandfather Sun, we thank you for the beautiful dance that you always do to show us the cycles of life and to help us to mark time. We thank you. And I thank personally Spirit of Wolf for being the consummate teacher, for helping me to learn what I need to know and to come back and share with the pack. All right, let's get started. So it's new moon energy, and new moon energy asks that, what can I let fade out of my influence? That's going to be our first card. What do we need to let go of from last month? Or whenever? What do we need to let fade out of our influence that we I want to share a little story here. Spirit kind of only reveals stuff to you when you're ready, which sounds kind of like, yep, of course. But a while ago, there was I saw this quote from some lady on the internet. And I was like, oh, I really like her. I like that quote. And I could not, for the life of me, find any other work from her on the internet. Like, her books weren't available. She had no YouTube channel, whatever. I swear to you, I looked and looked and looked. And then most recently, I saw another quote from her, and it really rang true to me. And when I looked into her further, then I was able to find all these books, and she has a whole website. It's a whole new mindset. And I really think that it's just Spirit's way of saying, maybe at the time it planted a seed for me, but I wasn't yet prepared to really absorb the wisdom of this person. So you may have moments like that. And so what do you need to let fade out of your influence? The things that fade out of your influence make way for this new stuff to come in, right? Maybe it allows you, an old way of thinking needs to go away to allow you to shift into a new way of being. So let's ask Spirit, what do we need to let fade out of our influence to make space for us to be who we are wanting to expand into? That's going to be the first card. The next one, what idea is growing within me? Okay, well, who do we want to be? What space do we want to shift into? That's the next card. And lastly, what can I commit to create going forward? So while we're in this new space, what are we creating in that new space? And then lastly, the card, what kind of energy do I need to be in that'll carry me through all of this, that will help me let something fade out of my influence, help me grow a new idea within me, and to create something new? What sort of energy do I need around that? The Tower. Garlic. Garlic is one of my favorite herbs. It's actually an amazing antiviral. Any kind of candida for your blood. We can go into detail about that later, but it's really good for inner purification if you have a cold, viruses. Okay, I see Mary would like a card. Let me do a divine feminine for her as well. More notes here. Hey, Connie. Welcome. Oh, you're so welcome, Kimberly. Yes, garlic is awesome. Well, think about this. Why, when you're getting rid of vampires, do you wear a necklace of garlic or keep garlic around? It had protective qualities about it from a magical sense, okay? So the Tower, garlic. And it also tends to repel people. So if you eat a lot of garlic. I personally love it. I love the smell of it. I love cooking with it. It's just amazing. My grandfather, in his folklore, he made my brother eat a whole clove of garlic to help him get rid of a cold. And he was miserable, but it worked. Yeah, really awesome for your immune system. Better than an antibiotic, frankly. Okay. By the way, it's ruled by Mars. Well, so this sort of childish energy that you've been putting out, frustrated energy, childish in the sense of immature, like you're not sure why you're doing it, but you're doing it. That energy is going to carry you to this space, okay? The Tower, ruled by Mars, represents the inner thoughts and words, which we have created to build up a tower of defenses and outmoded ideas, okay? All the self-sabotage, like you're doing those childish things as a defense to the underworld, the subconscious thing that you really want, okay? The ego and desires may be the masters rather than the servants of the inner self, okay? The thing that you're doing that's probably kind of cutting off your nose to spite your face, let's do some damage control. Let's go within and let's soothe those inner needs and desires first, right? This is the thing we're needing, this outmoded ideas, this childish immaturity, this reactive state. This is what we need to let fade out of our influence. And the way we do that is going within and really soothing the root cause, right? In our fortified tower, we have separated ourselves from life and others. Well, at the root of it, right, when you want to separate yourself from life and others, it's a fear of being hurt, right? So how about instead of fearing being hurt, we soothe that inner child, that inner self that wants to be loving and connected. And we focus on love and connection. What is that? Energy goes where or energy flows where attention goes. So rather than I'm going to protect myself from rejection, let's seek out all the spaces where we are loved and welcomed, okay? That's what this is asking you to do. Let the fear, the fear of rejection, all the defenses, all the armoring, let that go and get to the root of it. What's underneath the armor, okay? Now the lightning bolt of inner awakening has hit us and we come tumbling down from our self-created edifice. Well, if you're there all alone, it's because you separated yourself, right? So that is self-created in some ways. That's what you need to let fade out. If what you really want is connection, how do you need to be to get connected? Okay? This is a humbling experience, to say the least, okay? We're no longer functioning from unconscious egotism or race thought. Now you're aware, oh, I got something going on. I need to become aware of it. If you know better, you do better, right? The Mars energy breaks us out of the inertia of the past, and especially Mars in Aries. It's like the beginning of the zodiac. That's that. It's kind of destructive energy, because in order to destroy something, you're making way for the new, right? Think about a seed bursting out of, look at this garlic here. In order to grow that plant, it's got to bust out of a seed, right? And look at a cocoon and a butterfly. That germinative energy is somewhat destructive, right? You got to break the outer shell. You got to break the seed pod. You know, it's destructive in a way. But you're basically saying, I'm too small, or I'm too big for this old space, right? It creates an opening for a new cycle. We can no longer rationalize our old position. We are the dethroned kings and queens who must take a new perspective on ourselves and our relationships. The lightning bolt of inner awakening gets rid of the obstacles. That's good to know, right? Get rid of the obstacles. Garlic is the herb of breakthroughs, okay? On a spiritual level, garlic, ruled by Mars, will cut through most blockages and obstacles we have set up within us. So let's start cooking with some garlic this week to help us move through that blockage energy. Speaking of blockages, if you have a lot of mucus, sinuses are all about your lymphatic system. Your lymph system is like the trash person in your body. It's cleans you out, right? Purify your lymph, not your blood. Your blood is a different story. People are getting it all confused. Your lymph system, the thing that's the interstitial tissue fluid, clean that out. Cook with some garlic. You can even raw garlic with like olive oil is a very good antiviral, antibacterial. Okay. On a spiritual level, it says garlic ruled by Mars will cut through most blockages and obstacles we have set up within us. As we go through a tower experience, basically the humbling of the self, the busting through the seed, we may find that people turn their backs on us, or that we are social outcasts. In a way, okay, they reveal to you what was untrue, what was not needed in your life. If you're being yourself, your true self, showing your real face to the world, you then invite people who see the real you to come to you. If you're putting on a face, you're only inviting people who like that face, not the real you, okay? So when people go away, they're doing you a favor. They weren't in alignment with the real you. When you show your real self and people go away, that's a sign that they weren't aligned with the real you. In this alone and humbled state, true meditation and clear thinking can begin. That's okay. You don't have to be worried about pleasing somebody who is not in alignment with the real you. If you're already just being yourself and it's pleasing to them, effortless, right? Be willing to take a look at how to approach a situation in a new and fresh way. Garlic is a hot and pungent herb. Anything hot or warming tends to be a masculine energy, right? Where do you need to warm yourself up? What ways do you need to infuse some doing masculine energy? Okay, it stimulates circulation and digestion, counteracts joint pain. It clears lung infections and gets rid of parasites. Sounds to me like a great way to let something fade out of your existence, right? Could be a sign that, coming up in March, I'm going to be doing at the spring equinox a nutritional cleanse. It's a great time to clean out your lymphatic system, your body, your spring cleaning. So just kind of plant that seed. Maybe you need to do some spring cleaning in your body. 3 to 6 cloves of garlic can be taken per day during acute conditions. You can get garlic syrup and you can make that by pouring 1 quart of boiling water on 1 pound of garlic, which has been sliced thin. The mix is allowed to stand in a covered vessel for 12 hours. A small amount of vinegar and honey may be added to improve the medicinal quality. Anyone wants to know about that, I can send you a screenshot of the page. 1 raw clove per day, or 3 to 5 cloves in an infusion, can be taken as maintenance. Don't take it during pregnancy or lactation. Garlic tastes terrible in breast milk. I found that out the hard way when I was nursing my children. You can put a clove in a pouch, as always, and carry it on your person for strength, purification, and protection. And again, that's why they considered it anti-vampire. it protected you from evil spirits, essentially. An old wives' tale. So affirmation: I inhale and nurture myself. I dissolve the fortress within me. I exhale and cleanse myself. This is so funny. Nature, spirits got a sense of humor. I'm doing a meditation for this embodied Shakti, and I literally am talking about breathing in warm, golden, nourishing energy and exhaling, cleansing with like a crystal clear waterfall. So do this process to clean yourself out. Inhale and warm up with nourishing energy. Exhale and cleanse out with cooling energy, right? I'm open to the awakening within. Herbal allies are onions. So eat lots of garlic and onions this week. That'll drive away some partners. Yes, garlic is awesome. And by the way, if you're both eating garlic, it won't taste so, smell so bad. But sometimes without eating it, my husband's breath will smell of garlic. Does he take garlic supplements, maybe? I don't know. Sam says, my naturopath just prescribed garlic supplement. Yes, it is a very good herb for your heart. Okay. By the way, the blood is the masculine, the warming. The lymph is the feminine, the cleaning. So think about that. Whenever you need to cool something down, anti-inflammatory, you clean out your lymph system, right? That's the thing that's cleansing you. When you're inflamed and you want to heat up, that's your blood. You take something to support your blood. If your thyroid is low, sometimes your body's naturally low because you're too inflamed, and it's trying homeopathically to cool you down, right? So you'll come into balance if you get rid of inflammation you don't need. So just my 2 cents there. The very next card. What idea is growing within me? The Empress. We're all empresses, right? Dong Quai is one of my favorite female herbs. Speaking of which, and ironically, it's saying let garlic being a very masculine, warming herb, kind of letting masculine kind of fade out, too much masculine, and let feminine Dong Quai kind of build up. Because if you have too much of one, you definitely need the other to balance out, right? It's not that one's better than the other, but if you're dominated by one, then the other, think about female hormones. Female hormones are absolutely sensitive to being dominated by one or the other. If you have too much estrogen dominance, you're all over the place, heavy periods, this, that, and the other. If you have too much progesterone, progesterone is actually a steroid. Steroid is a calming, anti-inflammatory kind of thing. So estrogen is actually something that builds up, meaning builds up your tissue. Progesterone is the thing that gets you prepared to slough it off and get rid of it, right? So you might say estrogen isn't on par with your blood, and the progesterone is on par with your lymph system. So you have a heating and a calming aspect to your body. Just think about that. One isn't better than the other. Both are necessary. It's just when one is more imbalanced than the other, that's when you feel difficulty. So Empress, it's asking you, let's build up some more feminine energy, right? That's what it's saying. What idea is growing within me? Some more feminine energy. Let's see. So the Empress is Mother Nature personified, right? Sitting as the queen of all earthly life. I'm going to say, I'll take this literally. I need to get my butt outside and be in Mother Earth. Literally, go garden, be outside more, take walks, be in nature. This is like, nature therapy is like the best. Way more than any prescription. Just write a prescription and go outside and be in nature. Sit, listen to the birds. You know, look at nature, how nature's in perfect balance, right? So behind her flows the clear stream of intuition that is the continuation of the blue gown of the high priestess. She wears a yellow gown, which symbolizes the understanding and intelligence of nature. What did I just say? Okay, get out there, watch nature. When we're too modernized and we're always used to like synthetic light or watching TV, screen time, like Wi-Fi, like has radiation in it, get away from your screen. After this, put it away. Let's do like a phone fast for the rest of the day and don't look at our phone. That helps you go within and think more instead of consuming and taking in, right? You're thinking more and maybe wanting to create more. So she wears a yellow gown. I already said that. Okay, the Empress's crown represents the 12 signs of the zodiac and the many expressions of life which they signify. In other words, what new state of being? There's so many new states and so many variations of those states that you can be in. And you get to decide. They're all there for you. All aspects of yourself are available. What way do you choose to shift? Okay, so ruled by Venus, the planet of beauty, harmony, quality, and love, the Empress seeks pleasure. By the way, Venus is coming into play today, I think, sort of counteract this Mars-Pluto. Thank goodness for the balance of masculine and feminine, right? I don't remember the exact aspect. I think it's Venus and Jupiter have something to do with each other. I'll have to look that up, but I don't want to say because I don't remember correctly. It says Empress seeks pleasure and fulfillment of her heart's desires. Her law is the law of love. She asks us to feel the co-creatorship of the divine powers, right? Around and within us. She sees no difference between spirit and nature, for she knows that the physical world celebrates the infinite divine spirit. This is exactly what sacred union is. Being in the body. Instead of saying spiritually, I need to just always be off disassociated in the spirit realm. No, I can be spiritual and be physically in my body. I don't need to disassociate from myself. And it's also saying be spiritual in daily life, out in the world, right? Take what's in your heart. Don't just sterilize it. Don't be in training mode and abstract theory mode, maybe at church or, you know, reading a book at home or meditating in your sterile, singular space. Take that love, that spirit, and carry it to your relationships. Carry it to the physical world. Put it out there. On your way to work, let someone go in front of you on the highway, you know, those sort of things. Okay, Dongquai, herb of femininity. Dongquai is considered an energy builder for the yin or feminine creative energy. If you have too much heat or hotness or inflammation or masculine energy, you can drink tea, Dongquai tea, to build up your yin, your feminine energy, cooling energy, okay? But it also helps you create, right? It will increase fertility for new inspirations to grow and gives the energy to bring to fruition the creations. In other words, one becomes pregnant with ideas. Dongquai is a very important tonic herb in Chinese medicine. It's renowned for its blood building and strengthening ability and has been used to regulate the menstrual cycle, aid fertility, relieve cramps, treat all symptoms of menopause, and alleviate anemia. This herb can be taken by men also whenever there are blood or circulatory problems. It's very good for your heart, right? A piece of Dongquai may be carried in a pouch in order to remind the seeker of the creative river of life of which he or she is co-creator. I think I have some Dongquai right here. How about we just all meditate for a second on this essence of Dongquai root. We thank it so much for this feminine essence that it brings to us. Thank you so much. You take a little piece of this, put it in like your little medicine pouch, Dong Quai tea is excellent. Another way, if you're not big on tea, you don't have a lot of time, you can get the tincture, put a couple drops as prescribed. Usually it's 30 drops. It depends if it's like an oil. You can put only 3 or 4 because it's really concentrated. It says here, take 3 drops of the herbal essence of Dong Quai and meditate on the creative energies flowing through you from the Divine Mother. Yeah. And Dong Quai root is one of my favorites to make a tea out of. The root going down into Mother Earth, right? A tea can be made by adding 1 root and 6 jujube dates to 3 cups of water and letting it simmer down to 1 cup. That sounds like a lot of work. I just make a little teaspoon of this and drink it. It's kind of bitter. It doesn't taste good. I'm not going to lie. Don't ruin it with honey. Just pray over it. Thank it for its essence. Keywords: pregnant with ideas, new life and possibilities, abundance and fruitfulness. Need to pay attention to nature. You are a creature of nature, especially feminine nature. We have a different type of cycle. We don't go, 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 go every day. We have a menstrual cycle. Even women in menopause have a need to slow down with the moon, right? That's why we get our period. It's time to go within. Pay attention to that cycle, right? Pay attention to the moon cycles. Need to warm up and to be open to a new situation. Compassion and tolerance are in the forefront. Grounding your energies. Create beauty and grace in your everyday life. Okay, paying attention to the energy and growth of a situation. Ask yourself, if you're in a situation, is the energy I'm in right now going to allow me to express this new aspect of myself? Am I expressing or showing up in this energy of being the way I want to? Am I being the calm mother? Am I being the loving spouse? Am I being, more standing in my boundaries and more empowered? How am I showing up? This is asking you to pay attention to the new energy that you're bringing to the situation. I bring forth my creations with joy. I love and nurture them to fruition. You are creating this new you. Consider that your generative. When you're feeling very chaotic, when you're feeling stressed, you're not creating, you're in containing mode, right? So when you want to create, pay attention and nurture that space that puts you in creative mode. It's kind of the sexual energy that allows you to receive pleasure. If you're so tight and you're not going to receive pleasure. You can't allow yourself to culminate to orgasm. This is that exact energy. Allowing yourself to come to creative fruition, right? I bring forth my creations with joy. I love and nurture them to fruition. Okay, that's what idea you're going to let grow within you. Okay, I'll put away my Dong Quai here. Next, Ace of Wands, Yarrow. Wands being some fire energy. This is what I can commit to create going forward. You're going to need some fire. Let a fire under your butt, right? Some commitment. Let me check the comments here. Just used garlic in my eggs this morning. Yes. Awesome. Dong Quai is one of my favorites. No worries. We understand. Good afternoon. If you still have time, can I have a card? Yes, Julie, you may. Let me put that down. Definitely feeling the divine feminine today. Okay. Can we use another type of tea for the Empress energy? Yes. There's plenty of feminine herbs. And depending on what you need for your own particular body, really feel into it. It's intuitive. I would say herbs that support your, yes. Okay, so let me talk about dong quai along with some other herbs that are typically used for regulating the period. Vitex, chasteberry, I took that to help me with my migraines. But over time, Vitex, if you take it too long, past 90 days, can, one, make you bleed more, and two, reduce your libido. And those were things that I did not want, right? So you have to pay attention to your body, right? So if, as we were saying, it's all about balance. If your yin is like super low and you're needing help bleeding more, take dong quai. Me, I had a lot of blood flowing. So for me, I didn't take dong quai during my period. I would only take it maybe during the beginning half of my period. So it's all about balance and feeling into it. Where are you at? What do you feel like you need? Do you need something cooling? If you need something cooling, you can take some peppermint tea. You can take raspberry is a good tonic for your uterus. It's just good for the muscle itself. And just an overall like making you feel better. Some other teas, chamomile is good just for overall well-being. Rose hips. There's any number of teas. It depends on what you want your ultimate creation to be. Do I want to be relaxed? Lavender tea doesn't necessarily taste good, but shatavari, I've never heard of that. What is that, Courtney? Okay, so Lori, yep. We'll see if we can pull one for Lori as well. Okay. Yep. So hormone balancing, the key word is balancing. If you've got too much yin and you're bleeding, releasing, getting too much out, you might need something to kind of stifle the flow, right? I'm not a doctor. I am studying herbal healing, but seek out qualified medical advice. Christine, I'm having a major shift right now. I'm doing something very important this afternoon. This is, so good, Connie. It's so awesome to hear that. Yes, Ayurvedic herb. Okay, so in Ayurvedic medicine, they talk a lot about heating up and cooling down. And so I'm not an expert at all. I'm very fascinated with it. And they also talk about what is it? Kapha, Vata, and Pitta energy. Like if you're very solid, if you're very, one of them is more saying that you are a consumer of energy. Another one is you put out a lot of energy. There's different ways. And so what your body needs, I think, is kind of homeopathic in nature, So very good question, Juliana. Thank you for that. So next, what can I commit to create going forward? The Yarrow, Ace of Wands. Need a little bit of fire energy. Kind of keep us going. Don't mind me. Okay. A hand emerges from the clouds embracing a wand and a sprig of yarrow. Okay, life force of the spirit is fully acknowledged and accepted. That's what we're creating, right? We want to be in perfect acceptance. Okay. The shafts of light are the inner illumination that one can experience. It is time for revelation and enlightenment. What? You're moving past doing work. You're shifting into a new, what is the point of soul growth anyway? Evolving, ascending into a new way of consciousness. What is a rite of passage? To me, a rite of passage is going from one level of personal knowledge to the next. So you've done a lot of work over the last 7 years, and you're now utilizing all of that knowledge to be in a different conscious space, right? So this card also represents triumph and success of an endeavor or project. You've done the work, okay? You've done the purification work. You survived 2012 to 2018, okay? And if you did a lot of internal work, you're in a much better space to create a new beginning for the next 7 years, right? So pace yourself accordingly to follow an enterprise through to completion. Yarrow has the capacity to open the mind and the seventh chakra to inspirations and revelations from spirit. When you're in allowing feminine energy, you're receiving intuition from spirit. You're not necessarily going out and like, when you need to be in a creative place, if you're feeling very creatively blocked, you're relying on too much doing energy. The doing masculine energy is kind of the push part of it, right? But in the meantime, the creation, the growing the seed, growing the baby is very feminine in nature. Being pregnant and growing. When it's time to put the baby out, the project out into the universe, then you use pushing, doing energy, right? So Yarrow says, has the capacity to open the mind and the seventh chakra to inspire and revelations from spirit. It's cleansing to the body and the aura and will offer protection against invasive thought forms. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't believe in negative forces and whatever. Okay, this doesn't necessarily, when you talk about like entity attachments and those sort of things, it means not being privy to stress as much, or irritation, or aggravation, or just things that bring negativity to you, lack mentality, okay? So one will hear one's own internal music more clearly as the blockages are cleared. Any of those irritations, anything that brings separation from wellness and oneness, that's what they're talking about. Protection against invasive thought forms. Anything that wants to separate you from feeling connected to spirit, okay? So, long associated with the divinatory I Ching of the Chinese, yarrow is a common wayside herb found in diverse areas around the world. It is assigned to this ace because it promotes warmth and circulation throughout the body and throughout one's being. So we've got kind of like garlic warming you up, dong quai kind of cooling you down, yarrow warming you up again. It's asking you to be mindful of where you're at and what you need. And when you're mindful of that, then that's where the balance comes from. So the leaves and the blossoms promote sweating for the treatment of fevers, colds, and flus. If you need to sweat it out, get something out, this is a good herb for you. They aid digestion, relieve menstrual cramps, staunch bleeding. So if you drink too much dong quai, balance it out with yarrow, and generally assist blood circulation throughout the body. For fevers, they can be combined with elderflowers, peppermint, boneset, cayenne, and ginger. For high blood pressure, yarrow is combined with hawthorn flowers, linden flowers, and European mistletoe. So lots of balance there. Okay, the herb can be carried in a pouch and taken as an herbal essence as well to increase intuitive attunement between the inner and outer aspects of being. Outer being masculine, inner feminine. This is all about balancing, right? So, I am a child of the universe. I embrace the illuminations revealed. So somewhere in there you may be going, why am I doing all this? Take some time, make that space, be in the vibration of what you want, but to figure out what you really want, let yourself be in tune to where does my soul need growing, right? Why am I even doing this? A lot of us are on the path and we don't know. Yeah, there you go. Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Air, fire, and earth. And water. If my lymphatic system is blocked or overworked, that means I need to strengthen feminine energy. Yes. Yes. Your lymph is basically the feminine garbage disposal system of the body. The blood is like kind of a warming masculine energy. So I have shown this event to someone and they can't get in or see the live group. Well, so Juliana, I think I have to add them to the group first. Have they requested to join? If they have not requested to join, have them do that, and then they can hear the replay. Oh, thank you, Chris. Whew, it's very warm in here. All right, so overall energy for this new moon between now and, by the way, the new moon actually officially is tomorrow, so we're still prepping for it. Strength. Cayenne. Cayenne is definitely a blood warmer, a carminative. And here's the irony. Whenever you have like, cayenne is a very good aid for your digestion, because if you have too much acid, it builds up the mucosa in it irritates the mucus, really, and it makes the mucus move the food through the intestines and the stomach, right? Making it livens up, heats up your digestion. If you have problems with insulin, if you have problems with blood sugar, cayenne is very good for that too. And if you have a sore throat, cayenne with lemon and honey, best drink ever. Believe it or not, it soothes irritation. It irritates at first, but then it causes the body to soothe itself. Okay, so strength. All right. And it's saying the overall energy that you're creating is that of strength, inner strength, self-knowingness, right? Warming yourself up. If you felt weak and not a lot of energy, this is going to help you. So by using the strength of love, the woman is able to push over the blockages and resistance she encounters within herself and her life. Leo, the ruler of this card, is a sign of fiery self-expression. It's time to be who you really are. The woman wears a red cape symbolizing this energy, and the purple dress represents her inner wisdom, which guides her to use her strength in a wise way. In the wise way, right? That's the inner knowingness. Okay, so from the Chariot, the previous card, she has learned how to be clear as to what her true desires are and can now direct and control them as opposed to them controlling her. Remember what I was saying, when you're feeling really chaotic, you're not in creative mode, you're not in receptive mode. This is saying when you're mastering the self, you decide what is out of balance and what you need to do to bring yourself into balance. And in the process of balancing the self, you're in control. Instead of reacting to external aspects that make you feel out of control. She knows that she cannot employ opposing brute forces to manifest her goals, for this will only bring back to her the same resisting energy. Yes, definitely. Karma. Her internal fires and the healing heart energy are her tools. With the help of the infinite, as symbolized by her figure-8 hat, wasn't I just kind of doing the infinite, the balance, right? She knows the path she must take to manifest clearly her creative images. The one thing, if you take away anything from this reading, balance. One is not better than the other. If someone suggests you need, but you know you're full of yin and you need more yang, go ahead and do that, right? Honor yourself. Honor what you need. Cayenne is the herb of power, okay? Cayenne pepper is an herb whose spicy, fiery nature is both stimulating and rallying to the inner resources of power. You have something called Jing, which is like the physical energy of the body that you get at birth. The Chinese believe it might be finite. When you burn out your adrenals, anytime in my opinion, you're stealing from your Jing, when you're drinking lots of coffee and you're revving up your engine, it's not necessarily restorative. And so you need to protect that. And cayenne helps restore that Jing energy. It has the capacity to open the heart center while allowing one to remain in control of it. It's a stimulating, warming herb that aids in digestion. It's primarily useful for all circulatory problems, heart pains, cold extremities, excess mucus, varicose veins, and hemorrhaging. If you're bleeding too much with your period, cayenne is good for that, right? It serves as a natural stimulant to help overcome tiredness and fatigue and to raise vitality. It is excellent to use for arthritic and rheumatic problems. But don't take it if you're too run down. What I was saying, if your adrenals are burned out, you don't want to rev yourself up if your body's saying, no, I need to rest. Rest, okay? Pay attention to that. If the way you get strength is through internal intuition first. So breaking through personal and outer blockages, courage and strength to face outer challenges. Need to open to inner power and self-love. At the root of this is all self-love. Need to look at dominating and controlling tendencies, warming up inner coldness, strengthening inner vitality. I want to say something that might be considered controversial. When I was married and I was very much in like domineering mindset, my estrogen was high. I was in serious estrogen dominance, and I was like a shrew to my partner, and I wanted to control a lot. If you feel that you're there in that space, underneath it, get to the underneath. That's the Aries childish, like outer, I'm trying to get my needs met in a childish, immature way. Underneath that is a need to give yourself love and boundaries, right? You don't need to yell at everybody and control everybody to get your needs met. You can say, I'm having quiet time right now, and everybody needs to go away and respect that. These are things I've had to learn, because then I get, especially with my two older children, I get very much drained easily by some of their energy, very demanding energy. And so stay in your power by staying rooted to who you are, your own strength. And you don't need to be controlling or dominating to anyone else, just yourself, right? Control where your energy is going. So I affirm the strength of my heart. My power is one with divine spirit. All right. Whew. That's for the group card reading. I'm going to pull a herbal card for Sama. Okay. Ooh, 3 of Wands, saffron. Saffron has such a lovely color. An adventurer stands on a sandy beach looking seaward. He observes a sailing vessel approaching the shore. The card represents the beginning or continuation of a venture or experience. The boat in the distance signals the potential and hopes that such a venture brings. It further symbolizes an opportunity that is waiting for recognition. This is very symbolic of maybe what you're doing creatively at this time. The individual standing alone on the shore needs to make an effort to extend himself and to make his needs and desires known to others. Make sure that you still are expressing your true needs and desires. If things are getting carried away, if you're giving too much energy, if you've overextended, or something is not coming to fruition the way you want, let it be known so that you continue to create exactly what you want. Thus, the uneven number 3 represents instability or a cycle of going forth. So if it's 3, you have the urge to want to balance it out and move forward to 4, right? So there's still this essence of not quite done yet. And the herb saffron symbolizes the fiery element needed to move forward with one's desires and has the ability to stimulate inner warmth and digestion of experiences. Also, take the time to fully digest each experience along the way. Like, don't be too goal-oriented, just enjoy being in the creation of it. So, saffron will help to stimulate the digestion of experiences and will help in the healthful stimulation of the lessons learned. Along the way, stuff that happens is important for the overall creation of whatever it is you're working on. So it will impart the energy of love and devotion and will help one to see one's part in the dance of life more clearly. So saffron consists of the yellow stigmas of the crocus. Because it's so light and difficult to harvest in quantity, is one of the most valuable botanicals. It figures prominently as a culinary spice, imparting a pleasing flavor and an attractive yellowish color to a variety of foods such as rice. It is also an aid to digestion and is useful for conditions arising from digestive weaknesses. It is primarily a blood vitalizer, regulates menses in women, and in large doses can cause miscarriage. So saffron should not be taken during pregnancy. Carry a pinch of the herb in a pouch to help manifest the positive lessons of this card. Meditations with saffron or its cousins, a common crocus, will help to center oneself and to vitalize the third solar plexus and fourth heart chakras. Take the essence once per day in the morning to aid in digestion and assimilate the day's experience. This is the sense I'm getting is if you're getting too busy, slow down and practice on assimilation. Give yourself some assimilation time. Like, wow, we went through that experience, or we created this thing. Let's close it now. Let's seal it, and then before we move on to the next. Possibilities, getting on with it. Movement making one's needs and desires known, recognizing the opportunities presented. Affirmation, this is the first day of the rest of my life. I go forth with inner strength and confidence. Safflower and calendula blossoms are allies, herbal allies. So that was for Sama. And Kimberly wanted, and Krista wanted an Isis card. So let's pull out Isis. Isis, the Egyptian goddess. She's been coming out quite a bit. Very knowledgeable, wise essence. Let me see. Whew, it's pretty warm in here. I've got a bunch of candles going. Let me see the comments. You're welcome, Juliana. Yes, it is stimulating. Oh, thank you, Courtney. All right, Kimberly and Krista. I'm going to put here, so Sama card at approximately 1:35. That way you guys can get your card readings. If you have to fast forward through the replay, you just don't have time. And then so Kimberly and Krista cards at 1:47. Okay. On the shuffle, what does Isis want you to know? Kimberly, and then for Krista. I swear I saw, I know this is like an Egyptian beetle, but I swear I saw a bee or some sort of horsefly that looked very similar to this yesterday. Maybe it's a sign. It was literally on my car door handle. And then I was like, I'm not going to kill it. I'm not going to do that. So I gently knocked it away and it landed on the ground. Of course, everybody else around was, kill it, step on it. No. Okay. Power over 7 scorpions. This is for Kimberly. Power to conjure lower vibrational forces. You are being initiated into the magic of conjuring. To have power to affect lower vibrational forces through your own will and spoken word. You are guided to use this powerful gift with compassion and discernment, with mercy and non-judgment. You can then manage any toxicity in your life swiftly and with great effect. Oftentimes people do black magic with conjuring, and black magic, the difference being to put a spell to have a negative outcome on another, to influence another. I like to think that Isis is saying, not necessarily for other people, but for yourself, you have the ability to control lower vibrational energy at this point. Lady Isis teaches the art of conjuring, of being able to use will and word to gain dominion over lower vibrational energies. So when you're feeling cranky, when you're feeling tired, when you're feeling disempowered, you are much more aware of this instinctually now, and you know how to harness this energy and rise and shift into a new level. Okay? We must be careful to use this gift with compassion, respect, and love. Like, you're not going to force yourself into a higher vibrational plane. Using words with care and firmness will bring great healing into your life. This relates to words like, if you're seeing maybe a child in your life, or your family, another family member in a lower vibrational setting, this is saying you stay steady, okay, in your higher vibrational place. And you can then influence them with your higher vibrational place. Not to have dominion over them, but to have dominion over yourself. You're not letting them control you with their negative energy, if that makes sense. So, the lady was able to cause the poison of 7 scorpions to yield to her healing intent by naming them and dominating their poison. So you can say, I know you're being negative right now. I'm going to leave and go away and go sit in my other room and read, because I know that makes me happy. This is what she's talking about, having the dominion over your own moods and not to let others influence you. All right. So incantation for the power to conjure. Okay. You can say this incantation at the beginning of the ritual or at any time you feel utterly befuddled by what is going on or what issue is plaguing you. So if you're feeling overwhelmed with what's going on, if there's too much conflict, use this. Say words of power with conviction in your heart, then forget about it and be patient. Your clarity and empowerment to heal effectively will come. Over any poison, big or small, I can heal and repair. My words have power over all. I do not entertain despair. I name the truth within and around me with deep compassion and clarity. The pain of life bothers me no longer. I exercise with love my power to conjure. All right. That's for Kimberly. Ooh, it is warm in here. I need a fan. Can you tell? Is my face red? All right. And then now we'll move on to Krista. Wings of Isis, uniting with the angelic self. That sounds promising. You have a special spiritual relationship with the angelic worlds. Part of your soul purpose is to birth angelic consciousness and values such as fearlessness, compassion, and service into this human culture. This oracle brings you angelic assistance and intervention, and confirmation that any impressions you may have had that you belong not only to the human kingdom, but also to the angelic one are correct. You have a special spiritual relationship with the angelic worlds and are helping to birth angelic qualities of, that's what I just said. This is no small task. And although you're well equipped to succeed, there are beings that wish to assist you so that you may grow too, and your success may be more graceful and swift. Isis, divine winged mother, goddess, and angel of healing, wishes to assist you with unconditional love now. So you're guided to accept angelic wisdom into your life right now. Ask Lady Isis for help with this. You'll be asked to lift yourself up to higher and higher vibrational states of awareness. And this may mean letting go of certain relationships, practices, or states of being. Exactly what we were saying. You have to release certain things, but you're being called right now to rise up to a higher vibrational level. So the incantation for this is, you can say this incantation to call upon angelic intervention and to assist if you're having trouble integrating your angelic consciousness, which you may notice if you're feeling resistance, doubt, fear, or despair. Angel, goddess, wings of white, help my angelic soul take flight. I call upon angelic intervention, align my life with divine perfection. My soul and inner angel are one. In my body, integration has begun. Angel, goddess, wings of love, you protect me from below and above. So that's for Krista. Awesome. Thank you, Goddess Isis. You're beautiful. Set that aside. Now, this Divine Oracle deck is the one I'm feeling kind of calling my name all morning. So, I'm going to do Chris, Juliana, and Courtney first. So, I'll put Chris. Oops. Cards at 155. Okay. I like these cards because they introduce you to goddesses that have not necessarily been known throughout history. Because of oppression, suppression, whatever, racism. And it's important to know all of the forces and wonderful energy out there for us. So, okay, there we go. Keeping that inner peace no matter my situation, just like you said in the beginning of this reading. Wise words. Yes. Ah, you're welcome, Kimberly. Ah. You're welcome, Krista. All right, so Chris, Juliana, and Courtney. Let's see which goddesses want to talk to you. And see what messages they have. I have a child knocking at my door. Still doing my recording, son. Nope. All right, so let's see. We've got energy do the goddesses have for us? Okay. Chris, Juliana, and Courtney. Ooh, for Chris, Fatima, the mother of imams. Love is my lineage and gratitude is my religion. See, there's a lot of goddesses I've never heard of. And then, by the way, on the back of it, I love this image. Fatima. Who she is. So, Fatima embodies the love and fulfillment that comes from living in a state of gratitude. Fatima bint Muhammad was born in the early 7th century and is the only child of Khadija, the Prophet Muhammad, to live into adulthood. She's associated with the title Mother of her father because she cared for Muhammad after her mother died. She is an object of veneration, love, and respect for all Muslims because she supported her father through all of his difficulties. She was a devoted wife and mother of 2 sons and 2 daughters. Her descendants are spread throughout the Islamic world. To the Shiites, she is particularly significant because she was married to Ali, the Prophet Muhammad's cousin. Ali is considered by Shiites to be legitimate heir to Muhammad's teachings. Fatima's many children are considered then the rightful inheritors of Islam. An imam is a leader of the Islamic faith, and Fatima is considered to be the mother of imams because of the love and gratitude she gave to her family. So I know you, Chris, and you're very, 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 very connected to your children and your family. And so this is, I think, highlighting how sacred that caring for your family is. So there are many stories about her devotion and the unfaltering love she provided in order to protect them. She never failed to defend what was sacred to her. Hold on. Wow, maybe I need to hear from Fatima today. It is said that Fatima stood up to Muhammad's successor, Abu Bakr, because she didn't feel that he was honoring her father's legacy in the way he had hoped. She lived with great stability because she knew that her love for her family gave her a solid foundation, identity, and clarity of purpose. Let's read that again. She knew that her love for her family gave her a solid foundation, identity, and clarity of purpose. We can get caught up in the ego's ideas of who we need to become or of what we need to achieve. Fatima is the grace that sweeps through our seemingly complex lives and reminds us of what's core, what's solid earth to the soul, family, even if family means a few beloved friends. What matters most is the love and gratitude we bring to those who are there for us, and the love and gratitude we feel when they show up for us. Nurturing, protecting, and taking care of the ones we love is a sacred occupation. My great-grandmother, Big Margie, advised me that if I ever had children, I needed to make sure I got paid for it. That's the lady who wrote this book. So this is basically highlighting the value of motherhood and caring for your family. Fatima also calls you to step back, take a deep breath, and take inventory of how much you can be grateful for right now in this moment. And something I think to add to that is how powerful it is, what valuable contribution it is to your lineage to care for and raise beautiful children. So thank you, Fatima, for that message for Chris. I think it spoke to my heart today because my children have been driving me bananas. Okay. Thank you, Fatima. Okay, this next one is for Juliana. Oh my goodness. I'm going to butcher this name. Amaterasu, goddess of light. We are all sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light. So much goddess energy. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. This is an interesting deck. It's not in alphabetical order. Okay. I kind of like that. It's not predictable. Okay. So, Amaterasu, and if I'm saying that wrong, please forgive me, embodies the levity that brings us out of the darkness and shows us the beauty of our own light. Amaterasu is the most powerful deity in the Shinto religion. She's the solar goddess of Japanese mythology. Her name means shining in heaven. The oldest legends of Amaterasu date back to the 8th century and come from the Kojiki, or the Japanese record of ancient matters. In Shinto, kami are spirits or deities, and the most well-known story of a kami in Shinto is when Amaterasu got in a fight with her brother Susanoo, god of the storms and of the sea. His violence made Amaterasu so upset and angry, she retreated into a cave, leaving the world in darkness. The kami of merriment placed a mirror outside of her cave and laughed so much Amaterasu became curious. She peeked outside the cave and saw a beautiful goddess, a stunning vision of the dawn. She was in awe of it, not realizing it was her own reflection. Surrounded by laughter, Amaterasu's anger and depression lifted, and she agreed to leave the cave, bringing her light with her back into the world. That's sending a very clear message that it's time to break up some negative density and to allow for laughter, joy, levity into your life, because you do have a shining light. And the only way you can uncover that is to lift the cloud of all the, what we call hucha, negative density within you. And it can be hard to break out of that, but surround yourself in lightness of being and laughter and joy, and you'll slowly come out of the cave, basically. The cave is so crucial. Drawing inward, hiding our light to restore ourselves and to heal from something or someone that felt too intense or aggressive, that's an act of self-care. But don't stay in there, don't hide in there. We aren't the only dark when we do that. There's people around you that are connected to you, that miss you and want you to be in their lives. So we take our light from the ones who love us as well when we stay within too long. The beauty of Amaterasu is that she emerges from the cave out of curiosity. Curiosity is a very childlike, innocent energy going forth, wanting to expand, to know more, right? Attracted to someone else's joy. So be curious about expanding into somebody else's joy. That's when Amaterasu meets the dawn of her own reflection. When you see something in somebody else that you find joyful, it's really a reflection of that aspect of you that you need to embody more. Maybe it's a sign. Sometimes if you're jealous, look at things that make you jealous or resentful. Those are negative energies, but they bring to light a hidden desire. I am jealous of someone who has more time to spend on the weekends with their kids. Cultivate more time on the weekends with your kids. That jealousy is teaching you a very important aspect. So where are you feeling the most negative? And underneath that is some hidden joy for you. So Amaterasu sees her own light once she becomes curious about seeing the light that's around her in the levity and laughter of the other deities. This is the answer. If we've been too long a retreat, if we've been in hiding our light, not out of self-love and soulful need for restoration, but out of reaction to someone's pain, then we draw ourselves out by focusing on the joy of others. There's just as much joy and love as there is pain and destruction in this world. Look to the joy, look to the light, and become part of that. Don't pay attention to don't ignore it, but choose intentionally, consciously to add to the light. Seeing their light allows us to see our own. Sometimes even the solar goddess needs to be inspired and reminded of why she shines so brightly. not just for the sake of her own reflection, but also for those beloved beings that need her rays of light. There are people around you that need you, okay, to be in your light, to show that light. Sometimes we need the sight of the faces we brighten in order to remember why we're so devoted to finding our ways back into the light. We are all sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light. So that's for Juliana. Thank you, Amaterasu. I hope I say your name right. Aw, that's weird. I don't know why you can't see the live, Connie. Yeah, that's okay. You just missed your card. You'll get it. That's why I'm going to put the time on there, because we're going to be like, these are pretty lengthy now. Ooh, Courtney. We were just talking about none other than Mary Magdalene, apostle to the apostles. I am the bridge between heaven and earth. I am fully human and fully divine. The epitome of sacred union is Mary Magdalene and her beloved Jesus, or the human version, Yeshua, right? Masculine and feminine come together. If you're struggling with being valued as a female, as a woman, or feminine value, Mary Magdalene, I think, is a symbol of this, because nobody in the Catholic faith really was so suppressed and went from being like Jesus's beloved to being maybe seen as a prostitute with 7 demons to be driven out of her. And many scholars back and forth say, well, that was a misconception and now we don't say that anymore, and back and forth. But over the centuries, that idea of being maybe this wounded individual who was made beloved in the eyes of Christ is a very comforting thought for people who feel broken, for people who feel misunderstood or undervalued, and to know that maybe here in this physical world we're not as respected and loved and appreciated, but God sees you in that way. And then the ultimate is that some see her as the Holy Grail, the carrier of the love of God, right? The blood of Christ, his children, right? So she is maybe very noble and loved and venerated. So I love Mary Magdalene for all those things. And I haven't even got her card yet. Let's see. Of course, she's number 1. We're speaking about roses, weren't we, earlier? Mary Magdalene embodies the capacity we all have to merge with the soul and receive divine guidance through a love that never ends. Mary was born in the 1st century in Magdala, Israel. She was the first to witness the resurrection, and for this reason is revered in Christianity as the apostle of the apostles. The very first person to witness God rising to heaven, right? In The Meaning of Mary Magdalene, author and Episcopal priest Cynthia Bourgeau relates that the Gospels of Thomas, Philip, and Mary Magdalene all reveal Mary not only as Jesus' beloved companion, but also as his equal partner in teaching and transmission. It's this equal partnership that we're moving into in the age of Aquarius. And we're in the new moon in Aquarius, so it's imperative that we remember equal to doesn't necessarily mean we're doing the exact same thing, but equally respected, right? Bourgeau believes that Mary Magdalene's gospel contains a secret teaching that Christ gave to Mary so that she could pass through the 7 stages to reach the soul, or the nous, the French nous, N-O-U-S, which is the highest point of the soul. And it is this union with her soul that allows Mary to see the risen Christ. So I also think Mary Magdalene represents the feminine soul journey. this very aspect of reaching the highest self from the feminine consciousness, okay? In classic iconography, Mary Magdalene is associated with an egg and the color red because of Eastern Orthodox legend. And it says that she's used an egg to teach the court of Tiberius Caesar about resurrection. Caesar doubted her and responded that a person could no more rise from the dead than the egg in her hand turned red. The egg turned red immediately. So, of course, the color red is also a sign of Mary Magdalene, which could be why I was very drawn to red cloth for my tarot deck. Legends relate that Mary then traveled to the south of France to escape persecution and to continue her ministry. And I almost read that as mystery. It is believed she lived the last 30 years of her life in the caves at St. Baume. There she met with Christ with a love that inhabits the human heart, but that lives on beyond it. Okay, when your soul selects her card, Mary Magdalene represents the fierce, unwavering love that we all have access to within our own vulnerable hearts. It's a love that renders all things sacred, from the animals to the angels, from the poorest to the most powerful. So this is asking you to find all things sacred, from every interaction that you have. There's an angelic, there's a sacred, holy aspect to it, for your soul growth. It's a love that sees the inherent worth of all things. The concept of worthiness, especially feminine worthiness. Women struggle with this wound of the worthiness in self-esteem in our culture. And Mary Magdalene is all about finding that inner worthiness of deserving love and deserving self-love, deserving to have our own experience matter. When I say our own experience, our own reality, how is a situation for us? How do we honor ourselves? She's telling us we get to ask that. We get to be worthy of having a loving experience, right? So the Gospel of Mary Magdalene relates that Jesus came to unite us, to demonstrate to us a true human being, meaning a person who is both fully human and fully divine. The sacred union, right? This is what Mary became and is why she is so beloved to Jesus. She didn't seek to follow him. She sought instead to become her true self. Think about that. She didn't seek to follow him. She wanted to know more of who she was in relationship to him. That's exactly what divine union is. So, Mary Magdalene reminds us that we have the power to receive vision from within. We are worthy of such proximity to the divine because that's the other half of what it means to be truly human. She reminds us that there's a bridge between heaven and earth and that we are that bridge. How are you being the bridge between the divine and the earth, right? She reminds us that there's and that we're that bridge. She wants us to remember that the truest church we can ever enter is in our heart. This is where our true power rests and where love never ends, right? Love that card. Oh. Feeling a little verklempt. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Juliana. Oh, I'm very grateful you're here. And yes, curious what it says too. I was baptized in that faith. Interesting. Did not know that. Okay, let's go to the next. Ida, Holly, and Mary Ventrella. Your cards will be, okay, so Ida, Mary, Holly, Ida, Holly, and Mary. Your cards are going to be at 217. All right. So Ida, Holly, and Mary. What do the goddesses have for you? Ida, Holly, and Mary. Ida, Holly, and Mary. Okay. I think I'm going to say that wrong as well. Rabia, the queen of saintly women. This is for Ida. I am in service of divine love. I move the way love asks me to move. Y'all see that? It's kind of a little blurry. Yay, Holly, you're back just in time to get your card. Okay, so I'm doing Ida and then you. Okay, perfect. So Ida, we've got Rabia. And the thing, like I was saying, that I like about these cards is they introduce you to goddesses that you might not have been familiar with. Okay, Rabia represents a rare, pure love that doesn't seek anything other than simply to love. Rabia al-Arawaya is, I know I'm saying that wrong, and please excuse me, was one of the most influential Sufi women in Islamic history. She is a Muslim saint and a Sufi mystic who lived in the 8th century of Basra, present-day Iraq. On the night she was born, her father had a vision of Muhammad. He told him, "Your newly born daughter is a favorite of the Lord and shall lead many Muslims to the right path." When Rabia was still just a little girl, her father died, and she was then sold into slavery. She would pray every night to be released so that she could spend the hours of her day in service of Allah, the Arabic word for God. When her master overheard her prayers and saw that she was illuminated with light as she prayed, he realized that she was a saint. He released her immediately. She went into the desert and worshipped in solitude. Rabia became known as the Queen of Saintly Women because of the purity of her love and devotion for Allah. She set forth the doctrine of divine love, known as the, Ishq Hakiki. Her poetry emphasizes her desire to worship for the sake of loving Allah and not for personal gain. In one of her poems, she says, "I carry a torch in one hand and a bucket of water in the other." She wants to set fire to heaven and put out the fires of hell. So that love seeks no gain except to be in service of love itself. She explains, "I do not want to worship from fear of punishment or for the promise of reward, but simply for the love of Allah." So when your soul selects this card, in her lifetime, Rabia's embodied a freedom that divine love offers us. If we see her life as a metaphor of the soul's progression, she went from slavery to sainthood by devoting herself to Allah. Her only concern was the love that she could give to God. Her every action was motivated by her devotion to God, and through it she received the greatest spiritual gift, self-realization. So this is why we are on the soul journey, self-realization. And this is a gift. Through this gift, God speaks to us, and we can then speak this gift to others, right? Although it can be very difficult, loving without expectation is a profound spiritual practice. Be this love. For some of us, it is the easiest thing to do, and for some of us, it's the hardest thing to do. More often, our love for someone is loaded with ideas of who that person needs to be for us, but divine love is unconditional. Look at all the ways in which you can love without any external things needing to change. No hidden agendas, no strings attached, just how can you love just as is? Rabia relates in one of her poems, "Prayer should bring us to an altar where no walls or names exist. Each time we're able to love someone or ourselves without conditions to that love, we arrive at this altar within us. We free them and ourselves. We remember what Rabia knew so well, that to love just for the sake of loving was the divine act through us. That's a sacred container to build up, to be in vibration of. It's maybe calling you to be in more unconditional love, to drop some judgments for self, for others. And basically, are my current actions motivated by love? So ask yourself that. That is for Ida. Okay, the next one is for Holly. Ooh. Sekhmet, the Red Lady. I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. Sekhmet. These are interesting cards. I'm really enjoying them. Okay. Sekhmet represents the sacred rage that keeps us protected and reminds the world of pure strength of female power. You may be feeling some rage and not know how to voice it. Sekhmet is an Egyptian warrior goddess depicted with the head of a lioness and the body of a woman. Think of the Sphinx, right? The lion was considered the fiercest hunter in Egypt and a sign of protection. She's the daughter of the sun god Ra. The red solar disk that she wears indicates that she is a solar deity. She is known as the powerful one, the Red Lady, she who mauls, and the one before whom evil trembles. The ancient Egyptians held rituals at the end of war and at the beginning of each new year to tame the wrath of Sekhmet. They would play music, drink beer that was dyed with pomegranate juice, and dressed all the Sekhmet statues in red. It was believed that the inebriation would lull the goddess into a stupor and end her destruction. Sekhmet was a powerful guardian and protector of the pharaoh. She was called on during the times of war and considered to be a goddess of divine retribution. So I wanted to mention, we often think of the masculine, as a destructive force. The female, the feminine, can also be a very destructive force. Think of Sekhmet, obviously, divine retribution. Kali. Look at female yin-related activities in the body, releasing your menstrual blood. That's very destructive. You're destroying the endometrial tissue of your womb and releasing it, right? So there are aspects to femininity that are, just as much destructive in nature. And so the reason I mention this is not to, there may be, when we think of rage, like feminine rage, it's like rage at the patriarchy. There's also destructive nature to the feminine side. So there are nurturing qualities to the masculine, protectiveness, whatever. So it's also asking you to be mindful of the ability, when you're balancing the feminine and masculine, to remember these qualities, right? So when your soul selects her card, holy rage, sacred anger, and positive aggression, these states of being are crucial aspects of the divine feminine. Think of Mama Bear. Mama Bear is angry on behalf of her children. Divine retribution is angry on behalf of your people who are put into slavery, or anger on behalf of oppression of the feminine, suppression of the feminine. It's the female power that ends wars, that brings home missing children, that seeks justice for the earth and for those who can't defend themselves. So this essence, something about this essence is warming up in you. The brilliant artist and mystic William Blake relates that the voice of God, indignation, is the voice of honest indignation is the voice of God. The feminine has far too long been dissociated from rage and anger. Like, many women don't think it's okay to be angry. Maybe it wasn't safe. If they got angry, then the anger of the people around them would destroy them. So if we can embody the fiery emotion of anger, it often festers or expresses itself in subversive, manipulative ways, or it leaves us anxious and frustrated. This is saying, maybe work on this, ways to bring about that sacred divine rage in a healthy, positive way for positive change. Positive aggression, acting with love on behalf of what breaks our heart or enrages us, is what allows us to become agents of change to better our lives and the world around us. Sekhmet wants us to come face to face with our true strength. Power doesn't come from passive aggressive behaviors. We don't have to fear expressing our anger directly to an institution or a person who is acting unjustly. Sekhmet wants us to see that anger is an essential emotion. And Sekhmet is a sacred call to move that anger from pure emotion into conscious action. I'm trying to remember one of my conversations recently that wish I could attribute the source. Someone was saying that anger can be the thing that, is destructive in nature to make space for the new. And that, like I was mentioning earlier, busting out of a seed is a very destructive nature, but it's creative and generative. So some of that forceful aggression is necessary for creation, which is a very feminine quality. So as Sekhmet is the sacred call to move that anger from pure emotion into conscious action. So in this new moon period, as you're planting seeds, get out of theoretical, ideas, the emotion of it, the abstract of it, and get into action. She wants us to create the healthy boundaries we need so we aren't injured again and again. You get to create healthy boundaries, or so that we can be free ourselves from a destructive pattern. It's time to end. We have a divine right to draw a sacred circle around us at all times. The protection we invoke for ourselves and others helps move us from feeling helpless to taking loving action. So, I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. Awesome. That's for Holly. Aw, you're welcome, Krista. It's good. You're feeling that. Excellent. That's awesome. Sekhmet for Holly. And then Mary, Mirabai, the saint of true freedom. Love is what sets me free. I am married to my own soul. Interesting. Mirabai embodies a love that lets us do what's right for our own lives, no matter what others might think. This is perfect for you, Mary. I know you've struggled with getting angry or worrying about being victim-y. And this is saying, you got to do what's right for you, regardless of what others think. Stop worrying about what others think. That voice inside your head, it's just the worry of what others are thinking. Mirabai, or Mira, is a bhakti poet and mystic from Rajasthan, India. She was born a princess in the late 15th century. She unwillingly married Boshraj, the crown prince of Mewar, in 1516, but she considered Krishna to be her true husband. Legends say that her husband's family tried to kill her several times for defying the social customs and expectations of a wife. But in each of these legends, Mirabai's love for Krishna would miraculously save her. She wears the Krishna tilaka, the forehead marking, as a sign of her devotion to him. Northern India in the 16th century was besieged by violent battles between Hindus and Muslims. Mirabai's husband, father, and father-in-law all died in the war with the Islamic army of Babur, the founder of the Mughal Empire. Mirabai refused to join her husband on his funeral pyre and again defied social and cultural expectations. She became the central poet saint of the Bhakti movement during this difficult period in Indian history. The Bhakti movement is a spiritual path focused on the cultivation of a personal love for the divine. It's a devotional form of worship that believes anyone can have direct access to the divine regardless of sex, caste, or religion. Mirabai became the symbol of people suffering under the caste system and persecution that ensued if anyone tried to defy social or political standing. Mirabai's poems are lyrical padas, or love songs using metric verses. And they are so widely known and cherished because they relate an ultimate freedom that Mirabai lived out with her love for Krishna. So, when your soul selects this card, often without realizing it, we make choices based on external expectations, on how we think other people will perceive our actions. Mirabai is about doing what's right for you and no one else. Ultimately, only you can know what needs to be done or said. You have this one brief life, and every second of it matters. Mirabai is about standing up for what you know is right for you, even if others will judge you for it. The fear of being persecuted can convince us not to be true to who we really are. There's a love, though, that's far larger than human constructs and cultural values. Love isn't ethical. Love isn't bound by any ideas of what's socially acceptable. Love is what sets us free from the expectations that bind us. Love, in whatever way it finds us, asks us to stay loyal to our own soul. Are you being loyal to your own soul? Any outside force or person who asks us to betray our most intimate relationship with the divine isn't acting out of love. So, are you surrounded by people who are asking you to betray yourself? This is something you need to be mindful of. For Mirabai, her true husband wasn't the one she was married to. The love that made her brave, the love that inspired her every poem and action was a divine love for Krishna. So the laws that bound her to the strict expectations of being a wife didn't actually apply to her. Love asks us to look at what really matters to us and what we truly value. Love asks us to bravely defy expectations in order to be true to ourselves. Love wants us to marry our own soul. Beautiful. That was from Mary. Awesome, Mary. There it is, that message for you. Okay. And then the last two. It's going to be for Julie and Lori. Julie and Lori. Let's see. All right. Green Tara, Buddha of enlightened action. My soul informs my every step. I do what my heart compels me to do. This is for Julie. Let's see what Green Tara has to tell us. Interesting. I hope I can find our card in here because I don't see it anywhere. There she is. Okay. Green Tara embodies the emboldened state that overcomes fear and allows us to take action on what we know is right. Tara is a female Buddha in the Vajrayana Buddhist tradition. She is known as the Mother of Liberation because her name is derived from the root to cross. Tara assists all beings in crossing the ocean of suffering to liberation. So if you have some sort of suffering going on, call on Green Tara to help you relieve yourself of that suffering. According to the Tara Tantra, eons ago, Tara incarnated as a king's daughter. She showed such spiritual excellence and such profound compassion that she impressed a group of monks. They told her that they would pray for her to be reborn a man so that she could reach enlightenment. She responded by enlightening them. She told them that there's no such thing as male and female. The ideas, projections, and expectations that we superimpose onto the male form and the female form are not real. They are contrived. Form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. Tara vowed then and there, before all the monks, that she would remain a female Buddha for all lifetimes, until all beings were liberated from the illusion that a person's sex determined their ability to become enlightened. Tara has 4 different types of enlightened activities and divine attributes, depicted symbolically through the colors red, white, black, yellow, and green. Green Tara is Tara's embodiment of compassionate action, or enlightened action. Her green color signifies vigor and vitality. Her mudra also represents vitality and the purity of our life force, the prana mudra. She is the action we take from a deeply rooted place within our heart. She is the energy that seeks to act in alignment with what will free us as we liberate others. So when your soul selects her card, Green Tara is that sacred nudge to get moving, to do what it is that your soul compels you to do. So don't sit with an idea or a project any longer. Take action on it. Don't think about a friend who keeps coming into your heart. Go bring her dark chocolate or send her a love letter. Basically, get out of theory mode and get into action mode, right? Don't wait to express your love to someone you've needed to. Go now. Tell the truth. Let your feet be moved by what has been caged within you. Let your wisdom shift into inspired action. Tara's the message that the time for action is now. There's nothing to wait for and no person you need to become before doing what you've come here to do. Already be in that space. You can be in that space. It's available for you. Start small. Let the soul lead, not the ego. It's not the grandeur of the gesture or effort. It's the amount of love something is done with that even matters. There's so many injustices in the world, so much suffering. It's easy to get stuck in the molasses of helplessness. The brilliant Burmese diplomat Aung San Suu Kyi says, if you're feeling helpless, help someone. Green Tara is about aligning what moves us to tears with compassionate action. She's the push to do something, anything that might alleviate the suffering of others. In the process of taking action with love and from love, we also liberate ourselves. I think it's pretty clear cut there for you, Julie. Take action. Go help somebody. It will help you feel better. And then last for Lori, Mao Shan, the Princess of Mercy. Giving is receiving. The energy of the universe is merciful. This is for Lori. Mao Shan represents the incarnation and fulfillment of mercy. She was a Chinese princess who is believed to have lived during the Tang dynasty, and to have been the incarnation of the goddess Kuan Yin. She was the daughter of a king who wanted her to marry a wealthy man in order to secure more wealth and power for himself. When she refused, the king sent her to live in a monastery on a secluded island off the coast of China. When the king found out that Mao Shan had transformed the barren island into a paradise, he got so angry that he ordered the monastery to be burned to the ground. But when Mao Shan saw the monastery in flames, she pricked the tip of her tongue with a hairpin and magically summoned a storm that put out the fire. The king then ordered Mao Shan's execution, but no blade or sword could kill her. Instead, each weapon shattered into pieces before touching her body. After several attempts, a gorgeous glowing white tiger appeared and spirited Mao Shan away. The tiger took her to meet Yama, the ruler of hell. Mao Shan immediately heard the suffering of the souls all around her, and one by one she liberated them with the fierce power of her empathy. Yama had to send Mao Shan away because she was transforming hell into heaven. He gave her the peach of longevity as a gift. Mao Shan meditated for many years on the island of Putuo Shan, News reached her that the king was on the verge of death and that he needed the eyes and arms of a person without anger in order to live. Miao Shan gave him her eyes and arms. The king was revived and came to honor the person who had saved his life. When he saw that his savior was Miao Shan, he fell to his knees, humbled by the extent of her mercy. When the soul selects this card, this is why. The author Sue Monk Kidd articulates the process of empathy so clearly when she writes, "Empathy is the most mysterious transaction that the human soul can have, and it's accessible to all of us, but we have to give ourselves to the opportunity to identify, to plunge ourselves in a story where we see the world from the bottom up or through another's eyes or heart." Empathy is mercy's twin sister. When we feel into the reality of someone else's suffering, we open up to the possibility of mercy. So for some reason, empathy and mercy are coming to mind for you, Lori. It's saying mercy comes from the old Etruscan merc, which means exchange. Mercy is the embodiment of compassion. It can feel easy or even natural to have compassion for people who have never harmed us personally, but mercy is having compassion for someone who has. Mercy requires that we give something of ourselves, which is symbolized by Miao Shan giving her eyes and arms to the king. It can feel like a great sacrifice to be so giving towards someone who has given us nothing but suffering. Here's where the magic comes in. The law of the universe is merciful. The more we give, the more we receive. When the king realized the profound act of mercy his daughter bestowed on him, Miao Shan transformed into her true manifestation as the thousand-armed Kuan Yin. Miao Shan is a reminder that giving is the true receiving. When we refuse to release our anger towards someone, we're blocking the flow of the universe within us. We're blocking the flow of the universe within us. We're not harming the person who harmed us by remaining angry. We're keeping ourselves from receiving the love and light that is already ours. Wow. Powerful. So I'm really enjoying these new goddess cards, the divine feminine goddess cards. Thank you guys so much for staying with me. This is the longest one yet, 2 hours and 45 minutes. I just want to reiterate, I appreciate you. I am so grateful to you all for being here. Thank you for allowing me to hold this space for you. Just a reminder, I will be having a few events coming up. One on the 10th, February 10th, with Sama Morningstar and her the Womb-Centered Healing Temple collaboration, a sexual healing circle that will be hosted on Zoom. I'll be providing a sign up for that this week. The next one will be a sewing circle where I'll be giving a tutorial for how to make your own tarot bag. And you can also sign up to join just to be in the space to craft whatever you like. Information for that event will also be forthcoming. I will put a new post up about the Be Your Own Effin' Valentine summit that my friend and colleague Linda Vetras Nichols is hosting, coming up February 7th to the 14th. I am a guest speaker in that summit, and we are discussing different stories from the Women Who Run with the Wolves book by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. My particular story talks about the story Sealskin, Soulskin, and you'll have to check out and sign up for that event to find out more about what our story was and our discussion, but it was a really juicy one, so I hope you join in. And lastly, I am also doing an interview with Sama once again for her Embodied Shakti summit coming up. It will come out in April, and I'm looking forward to being part of that. We've already done the interview, and I'm excited because I'm creating a very special guided meditation to help you embody Shakti, the masculine and feminine, which is a goal of mine for this year, something that I'm hoping to embody, the sacred union of the divine feminine and masculine. So if you're just coming on, sorry, but I gotta pop off. I've been on here for almost 3 hours. I thank Spirit for, as always, providing all the wisdom and for giving me the energy to do this for almost 3 hours. So thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, love donations are always accepted. If you'd like to make a donation, please let me know and I will send you a PayPal link. That would be wonderful to help me keep this thing going, help me pay for internet, help me pay for just, the time away that it takes for me to do this. So I appreciate you all so much. Love you. Bye for now.